You're right guys, Shay here, Uneven Bounce, hope you guys are well. So it's been a couple of months since I last did a video. Today is UK bank holiday, it's May 25th. And I think the last video I did was March 22nd, a couple of vids on the Dolphins, which I'll probably upload anyway because there's a couple of topics that I can still talk about now. Or I might redo one about the transfers in and out, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I've been monitoring a lot of kind of fan-created content on Spotify and YouTube and stuff like that. You know, a lot of good stuff is coming out there more recently on those platforms, so it's really good to watch and listen to. And one channel that I've been following quite closely is SA Cricket Fanatics, or Cricket Fanatics Magazine, a South African media outlet, if you want to call it that. They're on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. They're really good. So there is really good content over there. The main guy's got a guy called Khaled. If you haven't seen the channel, go check it out. It's really, really good. And it's been a good resource for me actually to kind of keep up to date with South African cricket. So yeah, it's really good. And yesterday there was a video they posted. They do a show every Sunday evening, and there was yesterday's topic was about AB De Villiers and his potential return, which, if you've watched my video back in January, you know kind of my thoughts on it. But I think I need to do a follow-up as really a direct response to that show yesterday by Cricket Fanatics Magazine, because I wanted to get involved with the show in terms of comments and whatnot, and really kind of watch it live and comments as we were filming it. But I basically couldn't make it, unfortunately. So I wanted to do a video just kind of direct response to it. Now, like I said before, excuse me, I did a video on this back in Jan. Kind of really, I was pretty honest about it. I mean, I'm just pretty much sick and tired of the whole saga. And that was in January, and now it's May, and we're still talking about it, I guess, because the World Cup is getting a bit closer. Well, we hope anyway. Who knows what's going to happen? But let's say, for this purpose of this video, that the World Cup is going to happen at the end of the year. It made things a little bit easier. I think one of the main reasons why people are still kind of split, and not everyone is in the kind of, you know, go to hell AB, is because the team isn't doing as well maybe as they'd like it to be. I think from a playing perspective, because he's such a great player, or has been such a great player, and they're not seeing the results they would like to see, especially obviously they just came off, well, was it 2 losses, a draw and a win in the 4 white ball series they had against England and Australia. They obviously, as I think one of the guys said, I think it was Daniel, that, you know, South Africans just love to win. They're nothing more than winning. It's, you know, it's like it's a competitive country, and fair enough, they want to win. My only take is this, really. First of all, I think I said previously, I talked about on the show yesterday, AB's record at T20 level isn't that great anyway. I think it's averaging like 26, something like that, with a decent strike rate. It's also, as well, this World Cup's going to be in Australia, and he's come off, obviously, a BBL campaign for Brisbane. I think he played 7 games or 6 games, and he made a 70, I think 71, out of 146 runs. So what's that, 75 runs in 5 innings, 15 runs per innings. Now, I know obviously it's T20, you can go, you can have a great game and a bad game next day. I understand that, but that's in Australian conditions, right? He's nearing 37 by the time this World Cup rolls around. I mean, let's say it's happened in a year, then he'll be almost 37. My question would be to those guys, and anyone really, is AB De Villiers that good a player anymore? We don't really know, truth be told. You know, he came off a pretty good IPL last year with RCB, and I know he's playing for struggling teams like RCB, like Brisbane Heat, who struggled again last season. But I would question how effective he is actually as a batsman anymore. I mean, we're going off really, his last time he played for South Africa was 2018 before he retired, right? He played the India and Australia series. He did very well in parts of that series. He didn't play all the white ball stuff, but in the test did well. That being said, that's test match cricket. In T20 cricket, he's a very good player, and don't get me wrong, he had a very good MSL as well, the Swanee Spartans, but as has been pointed out in the show today, it's not in South Africa, it's Australia, and then you obviously go into India, which is meant to be a year later. Obviously, it's all in the air. Let's say it's going to be a year later, as per the pre-scheduled dates. October, November 2020 for Australia T20 World Cup, and a year later for the India T20 World Cup. Now, I actually debate the merit of his position in the team as a player anyway at this point. I think a lot of good points are made by Khaled. Some excellent points made, actually. Maybe everyone, but I can't seem to really subscribe to what Khaled was saying on the show in terms of the team dynamic potentially being jeopardised, the culture that's been kind of cultivated over the past few months under new leadership in Quinton and Cock could be undermined if AB joins the setup again. And I think also as well, I think right at the end, I can't remember who made the point, it was an excellent point. I think actually it was Khaled again, actually, and said, imagine, the management put the trust in you as a player. Let's say Vianna Milan or David Miller or Rassi van der Dusen or Faf du Plessis or Tam Bavuma, any of those guys, they say you put the full trust in them. You're the guy to take us forward. You're the guy to do well for our country, to do well in Proteas colours. And then AB swans in for a month, basically, for the World Cup, and then he takes a place. Where does that put that person? How much a knock on the confidence will that have? How will the management look? The problem is the management have looked, and the whole administration management have been lacklustre, to say the least. I think bringing him, AB De Villiers, back in just for the World Cup, because that's what it's going to be. As I said previously, it's a World Cup and that's it, he'll be gone. I don't know how they would look. Let's say they don't do that well, and I don't think they will. I really don't think I really don't believe that if AB De Villiers plays, they have got a far better chance to win the World Cup. I think it's complete bollocks of them having a much better chance to win the World Cup. Could he have a better chance? If he's, playing well, I agree. Yes, he could. But how much cricket would he have had in 2020 leading into that World Cup? And yes, he could play three T20 matches against India in August, and then leading into the World Cup. But is that really enough international preparation when you've been out of the game for what would have been almost 2.5 years? I'm not sure. Is he that good a player at 36, 37 years old? That I'd also question as well. You see, because we seem to get wrapped up in the aura of AB De Villiers a little bit too much. He is a wonderful player, has been a wonderful, wonderful, majestic player for South Africa and for his franchise play for, and all over the world where he's played. He's revered and rightly so. But I'm coming from an angle where I'm not sure he's that good a player anymore to move mountains for. I think I've just changed tact a little bit. My frustration with AB De Villiers is that I do believe he's kind of messed CSA around massively, and I think it's a bit naive to really think that he's not kind of not saying it, trying to phrase the word properly, but I think he's wary of what he's doing and the timing of it all, and I think that I do think I think he shows a huge amount of arrogance the way he's operated in the past 3 years. Hanging up his boots not hanging up his boots, but wanting to play test matches in 2017, then coming back for the Indian Australia series, as Khaled pointed out, the India series in particular because of the MRF sponsorship, etc. The Glamour series in the Australia, that's what he played obviously in 2017-18, and then he packed it in when he said he was going to want to play the World Cup. That's why he skipped the England Test matches in 2017, because he wants to keep himself fresh for the World Cup, which didn't even play in the end. Now things can change. I agree with that. I think Daniel said that things can absolutely change. In between those periods, we don't know what's going through his head, what's happened behind the scenes. That I agree with. We don't really know. But all we can do is go face value to a certain extent and judge things and assess and take views on it, really. And I just feel like the chopping and changing, the timing of announcements, how he's dealt with it, how he's made his announcements as well, has not really done really great for his reputation and his image, I think, in South African cricket. And that's why a lot of people they're polarised in his opinion on him and whether he should be allowed back into the setup. I think I said this before in January, but if he's going to play for 2-3 years down the line, if he says, right, I'm committed from now for all South Africa T20 matches, and hopefully ODI as well, but let's say T20 matches only for now, up until the end of the India World Cup, and I'll play all the matches I make available, then that's absolutely fine. Then I'd say, okay, he's going to be around for a good 15, 18 months. Let's bring him back into the fold. I think it's fair. But that's probably not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is probably he's going to play that one World Cup because he wants to do that, because it's obviously a big global event, and then play that and then go. That's it. I think I worry here it's become the AB show as opposed to being about South Africa. And I think it could undermine the leadership of Quinton de Kock. Yes, he should be strong enough to deal with a situation where AB's back into the fold. I imagine AB would be very supportive of Quinton de Kock, but the reality is they're trying to move on. South Africa have gone through a hell of a time at international level for the last 3 to 4 years. Plethora of retirements of massive players. Amler, Philander, Steyn Morkel, De Villiers himself. They need to move on. They really need to move on as a team in order to hopefully excel at some point. Now, I think Ravi mentioned the point of Graham Smith as a winner, and he want to go approach every tournament to win. I'm not against that. I do agree with that. But I also believe that this choker's tag that's been labelled on South Africa for so long now, since the 99 World Cup, whether you agree or disagree, that's the moniker they've been tagged with. That's a fact. We know this. And I think the way to kind of get over that is to give new players opportunity to play in really high pressure tournaments. And then they can hopefully do better when it comes to that crunch. I mean, it's talked about obviously how if they don't only play domestic cricket and not have much global experience like AB De Villiers, then can they cope at the highest level? The only way they'll be able to cope at the highest level is if they play at the highest level. So a guy like Rassie van der Dusen, who has been a really good five for South Africa and play all 3 formats, I think he could be South Africa's version of Mr. Cricket of MEK Hussey. He could be that. I think he's a very talented player. But if he gets, for example, gets moved out of the team for AB, when it comes to, let's say, a press situation, if he's back in the team for the 2021 World Cup, what's going to happen then? He wouldn't have dealt with it before. He wouldn't have not been in that position before to have dealt with such a situation. So I think if you want these guys you want to win the big one, as Ravi points out, win the big one, well then, for that to happen, they need to have had pressure situations happen to them and be under the spotlight that only international cricket can create. I'll give you an example. Ben Stokes. He's a classic example of someone who obviously he failed quite spectacularly in that final over in 2016 at that World Cup. And then look what happened in the 2019 World Cup. He would have matured and learned a hell of a lot from that World Cup when he bowled that last over against Colin Brathwaite to what happened in that final over, batting for England. I think that would have helped. I'm sure he would have, kind of drawn upon that experience that he had against in that 2016 World Cup to help him through the 2019 World Cup. That only happens if they play. AB De Villiers has had his time. He's played in some really, really great teams. They've not won anything with him. So, I just, if it was a test championship, for example, I could see why you want to bring him in. But I just think this one-off tournament, which is what it's going to be for him, I actually debate the merits of his inclusion in the team purely on actually, I'm not saying ability, but I'm saying his ability to perform now at this level. Could he do really well? I'm sure he could do fantastic, but I think there's questions now which maybe there weren't 2-3 years ago. I think you could say maybe he's not so infallible as he was 2-3 years ago. So I think that also needs to be taken into consideration as well. So I mean, let's see. I thought it was a really good show yesterday from Cricket Fanatics. I just want to kind of put my thoughts up there. I probably missed a little bit as well, to be honest with you, of what was said. It was an hour and 15 minute show, but I just really freestyling here and kind of giving my opinion on where I stand. I think they need to move forward with the likes of Balan, Bavuma, De Kock, Van der Dusen, Miller, Pep Guayo, JJ Smots, Faf obviously is the other statesman. Because the thing is, well, the team they've got isn't actually a young team. Faf is almost 36. Temba's 30 now. Rassie van der Dusen's 31. Proteas, he's 31. Miller's 31. It's not that young a team. Milan's 24, okay. But you've got people like Aaron Klassen who'll probably be in the squad as well. He's had a really good you know, a white ball season at home just gone. You know, surely he deserves a spot as well in the 15, if not the 11, right? Calvarena, he might be a bit of a left field pick, but did pretty well. He quit himself pretty well, you see. So I just think South Africa need to kind of move on and lose this whole AB thing, because what you don't want in a situation is where a player becomes bigger than the country, similar to what Luis Suarez was with Liverpool. He was big. You know, you hate to see that, and you hear all the time like no player's bigger than the club. I can tell you now as a Liverpool fan, Luis Suarez, during the whole racist saga incident with Patrice Evra, he was bigger than the club. The way they came out and reacted to it, he was bigger than the club. It showed the first time I've seen a player being bigger than the club. And if you constantly move the goalposts forward like AB De Villiers, I just think it tarnishes the CSA even more. And they've gone through enough as it is. I think they become out with more credibility and respect if they say, you know what, AB, had your time, we need to move forward with a new set of players, and we're going to trust in these guys. We trust in why you've been away, swanning off all these places, India, etc., doing your thing, fair play. These guys have been busting in domestic cricket and been playing for the Proteas, and they deserve their chance now to shine on the biggest stage of them all in a World Cup for their country, and let them see what happens. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but let's say they drop, you know, really talented player like Milan, like Van der Dusen, and AB plays, and it doesn't go well, what happens then? If he plays, listen, it'd be considered probably a stroke of genius, but I still believe that people will think, should he have really played? Should have really played. In my personal opinion, I don't think he does that much better than the guys that he would replace, being completely honest. And that's what I think isn't discussed as much. I think it's a case of AB comes in, he does fantastic, and I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure at all. On the basis of what I've seen in the past 12 months, I'm not convinced he's the same player as he was 3 years ago, to be completely honest. And there's another point to raise as well, I forgot about it, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's really my thoughts. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, you know, please do you know, comment, that'd be great. Subscribe to the channel. I will be pumping out more videos now and getting some more content out there. Hopefully get to engage with some of you guys out there. And yeah, I will catch you on the next one. Alright, cheers.